me know? Excuse me. So, yeah, good afternoon. Good to have everybody here. And just start out by taking a minute just to express our condolences to the Marilyn Howard family. She just passed, and she's been a longtime supporter and friend of the universities, and she and her husband have been very generous contributors and supporters of the programs, not only in athletics but the entire university, and they really stepped forward in a big way when we did this project. So I've developed a relationship with their family. They're just great people, and Marilyn in particular felt she had a really serious health challenge about 15, 17 years ago, and spent some time in a facility in Ankeny, and really thought that might be the end of the line for her, and she certainly rallied from that, and just had a very full and exciting life since that time. Been to a lot of things with her family, and I think my biggest takeaway is just what a positive person and strong-willed person she was. And so just it was always a delight to have a chance to visit with her. So all that being said, just, our condolences certainly go out to her family, her daughters, Donna, Diane, and then son Steve and Scott, and numerous grandchildren, one whom just finished up with us as a student manager, is now in the PT school across the street here. So, thoughts with the entire family, and just want to express that. Moving forward here, so step back for 1 second, just last week's game again, just really proud of the team's effort. Thought the guys really played hard and showed a lot of resiliency, and obviously that game went down for the full 60. Tremendous environment, so just appreciative of our fans as well, and just want to finish up by extending my congratulations and to Xavier, for being Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. He's playing outstanding football, playing his best as a senior, something that really helps any football team, and he's been a real strong leader, great leader for us. So happy for him, and certainly well deserved on that one. Transition to this game, our captains are the same guys. Got Ethan Herkett, and then Entringer going on defense, and Logan Jones and Mark Gronowski on the offense being the captains. Injury-wise, things are looking a little bit better. We Jazz and TJ have both been practicing. Looks like they're going to be okay. Jaden Harrell looks like he'll be okay. So good to have those guys back, certainly. Luke Gaffney will not be back. He had an injury last week, something that's been ongoing. So he'll be out through the bye week, and hopefully get him back as we get back into it. And a few guys have bumps and bruises throughout the, from the game on Saturday as expected. But I think everybody's got a chance to be ready to go. So it's kind of where that's at right now. And then, that being said, certainly we're going to need to be at our best this Saturday, playing a really good Minnesota team. And they're coming off a really big win, a very impressive win against Nebraska last Friday night. So they certainly come in here with momentum. Pretty much what you expect. They're a big physical team, playing well in all three areas right now. Offensively, big line, a lot of experience up there, and guys doing a good job. Big tight ends, do a good job with them. Good receiver core. The running backs have been really good and continue to be good. Got a returner back, obviously he's a really good player. And then the wild card's been the quarterback position, playing a young guy who's done really an outstanding job, and you can just see him, like their whole team, getting better week to week. So he's playing with a lot of confidence, had a really good game the other night. Defensively, big, strong, tough, and aggressive. Their attack, nothing very sound fundamentally. And special teams, they do a great job. It's clear they invest a lot on special teams. They have good specialists. And then they've got a really good job with their core guys that are active as players, but they got a handful of guys that aren't really in there too deep, but take a lot of pride in playing well on special teams. We've seen a lot of guys like that around here, and take a lot of ownership, so they do a really nice job there. And number 3 is a very dangerous return guy, so they've got him back there. So all that being said, it's a big challenge for us, 2 5-2 teams, and it should be a really tough Big Ten contest, I would think. Captain, just to say a couple words about him. We got Luke Johnson coming in from Dunlap, Illinois, an 8-year-old. Great to have him with us. He had several conditions, basically since birth, and on a visit here at the Stead Family Children's Hospital fairly recently, they discovered a spinal condition that is really rare, extremely rare, and could have led to paralysis. So they were able to discover that, and then more importantly, able to address it last Halloween, actually, a 13-hour surgery, if you can imagine that. And the thing is, he was most upset about it, I've been told, is he missed Halloween. So the staff there did a great job, tried to simulate that, dressed in costumes, et cetera. So it's going to be really special for him to be with us. Last year he was watching the wave from this, across the street, and now he'll be on this side of the street and leading the wave, he and his family. So we look forward to having them here. And then last couple things here, just real quickly, going back to the game. Like, all of you are paying attention. Certainly the Big Ten, just, a lot of competitive football, a lot of really good teams. And this is another week where we're, facing a big challenge, playing a really good Minnesota team. So a lot on the line, certainly a rivalry trophy involved. And, we know it'll be a great environment. So we'll look forward to, kick off on Saturday and take questions as we go.
Hi, Kirk. Scott Docterman with The Athletic. In some ways, it seems from the outside that Mark Gronowski kind of epitomizes what you want in your program: gritty, tough, selfless, willing to do whatever it takes to win. How quickly did he present those intangibles to you and the team, and what's been the response like from you and your team to him and the way he plays the game?
Yeah, I mean, it probably goes back to our first visit with him in person. When he and his dad came out here in January. But probably back before even that, I mean, I think he really, it's a little bit like recruiting. And obviously he wasn't recruited by the Big Ten schools or the MAC schools, I'm assuming. So a lot of people missed, and I don't know how obvious it was or wasn't, but what he did at South Dakota State in a short time is just really impressive. And I don't think he'd stumble into things like that. Saying anything about Joe Von Johnson, who, Coach Moore was still alive at that time, and he kept encouraging me to look at the film. And you look at the film, and he did everything so well. And he wasn't very tall, but he just did everything for his team. And, so Mark's production at South Dakota State is just so impressive. You meet him in person, he and his dad, and, just tremendous people. But then to your point, it's when you're really around somebody for an extensive period of time, and you get to see him in a lot of conditions. That's how you really learn about people, and it's been just great to be around him on every turn. A little frustrating for everybody, especially him not being able to go in the spring. But the way he handled that and navigated that was really impressive. And then he got going in June and really quickly earned everybody's respect, I think, internally. And now you go through the season and watch what he's done. It's just been really impressive, and it's to my knowledge, we haven't had a quarterback like him since I've been here. And I don't think we coached with one in the 80s either. Kind of like him. He's a little bit unique that way. And but he's got just so many good attributes that good players typically have. And so it's been great. And he's just, blended in so well with everybody here. So we're really glad he's with us, obviously.
Hi there, Kirk. Jack Lito with KCRG. I want to ask about your kid captain program since 2009. And I didn't know this. Chelsea dug this up. You just passed 200 kid captains in total. Through all the change your program and the Big Ten has gone through, you still stand up here before every Tuesday and you tell us about the kid captain. I'm curious, what kind of example, or what do you want your players to learn, or what do you hope they've learned over the past over a decade?
Yeah, first of all, it's like the wave too. I want to make sure the credit goes where it belongs. The wave came out of Anita, Iowa. Krista Young was a person who had the idea originally. And, it was somebody else that came up with this idea, this concept. And it's just what a wonderful thing to celebrate. The hardest thing has got to be, picking 12 captains, just limiting to that, because all these stories are so compelling. But I think the great part, it's a two-way street. Obviously, the kid captains, their families really enjoy it. Coming here in August, and then certainly coming to be honored for a game and recognized. But the two-way street part of it is something we try to remind our guys all the time. We choose to do what we do. All of us are coaching or playing. And then most importantly, it's a great reminder that we're able to do what we're able to do. And not everybody's that lucky or that fortunate. And, we all think at times, we've got it hard. You run into a tough situation, disappointing and all that stuff. And then, you look at any one of these stories, gives you some perspective on life, and it's really healthy. I think in this day and age, it's even more healthy than it's been before, and certainly it's healthy for the population that I get to work with, because these guys are all, I don't want to say they're fortunate, just to be involved in a great game like this. It's a pretty good deal. So It's just a really good, tangible reminder for everybody that, we've all got a pretty good work. We think it's hard, and it is hard, but it's still not. It's not. There are things that are a lot harder and more serious than that. Yep.
Ethan Peter, Quad City Times. During the bye week, Tim compared Mark's running style to Tim Tebow. From what you can remember from Tebow's time at Florida and in the NFL, is that a accurate comp, and is there any more to that comparison than just simply the physical between the tackles running style?
Yeah, there's probably a good, fair comparison there, and it's unusual. It just, I guess that's why Tim was famous too. Tim Tebow, Tim Lester as well, but Tim Tebow. I mean, it's a very unique thing. You just don't see it very often. And I was just telling somebody here getting grabbing food this morning. I was with Mark Rippon for a year in Cleveland. I was at the latter part of his career, so his best parts physically weren't there. Not that he was a running quarterback like Mark is, but. Some similar personality attributes where the guy's older than, and Rippon was older at that time. He was a veteran guy, had a lot of success. But there was something about his confidence, but it was just understated in some ways, yet really strong, if that makes any sense. And I think Mark kind of leads with that kind of style. There's just he's very grounded, yet he's very, he commands respect. He just commands attention and respect by the way he does things. But, yeah, the running part is really unique. And, the one up the middle the other night, it's just, it's pretty impressive. Yeah, really impressive.
David Eichel, HawkeyeInsider.com. Kirk, you've had countless examples of guys playing football their senior year after battling through inconsistencies or maybe some bad, poor performances. TJ Hall just seems like he's another one of those stories. There were questions about the secondary entering the year, but despite not having a pick, he's been probably one of your most consistent players. What can you say just about the way he's continued to attack the day and how he's grown as a leader? Because he seems like a guy that he doesn't speak up often, but when he does, it just seems like the secondary really responds to him.
Yeah, he picks are great. I mean, we're all for him, really all for him. But it doesn't tell the whole story, kind of like sacks on defense. Don't tell the whole story. They're great to have, but it doesn't always necessarily reflect the kind of pressure you get in a disruption. So TJ's really just been playing really well. And we've been fortunate. We've had usually had a corner, sometimes two, that really kind of, stabilize things, and you can help out the other guy maybe a little bit more. Last year we didn't have that luxury, and I think that's a real – and Deshaun has really improved also, in my opinion. But TJ really took it another step, and we kind of saw that coming over the course of spring. He just had an outstanding spring. There was a big step forward in terms of growth, confidence. A lot of that just comes from maturity and also comes from having hard times. And he's stayed the course. He works hard, got a great attitude, and he's been a really strong leader. And it's not always spoken, but yeah, he does a great job, and he does a great job in the building. And I'll see him leaving a lot of times 8:30 at night. He'll eat and go back, watch tape. I guess I assume that's what he's doing. But anyway, yeah, he'll say goodnight as he's going down the steps, and just really dedicated. He's really enjoying things, and so it's a delight to have him on our team.
Tyler Tashman with the Des Moines Register. Just as the offensive line has kind of gone through the rebuild, there's been growing pains. There's been times where it hasn't been where you wanted it to be. And obviously now you're kind of a little bit on the other side of things. But I'm just curious to how you saw George Barnett just, I guess, kind of deal when it wasn't where you guys wanted to be, how he kind of worked through that.
Yeah, he how do I put this? It's kind of like when Norm, we started out 27 years ago. Norm never stated the obvious, which I appreciated, that we had work to do. And always tried to, we always tried to find the positives, and hey, what can we build off of? Here's something we're doing a little bit better, and how do we build off that? And I think, George clearly knew that we had work to do. And, again, nobody's fault. I went through that the other night, whether it's injuries, guys not choosing not to stay at the game, all those types of things, attrition. There's always things that happen, and you never know where it's going to hit or what position group. But George has just been so steady, rock steady since he got here. He's an excellent teacher. He does a great job with the guys, equally as important, maybe more important off the field. Just, it helps keep them stable too, because some of the things I described the other night, guys playing before they're ready to play, they know that. The players know that. And you've heard me say it a million times, you can't hand a player confidence. You got to earn that. And you got to work through that. And with the linemen, it's so important to, get their feet on the ground and, let them really learn how to play. And so I think that's a big part of the reason why we're in a better place now. But George has been able to handle it, whether it's, you name the challenge. He just has really been rock steady with the guys, and he's an excellent technician. All that part of the stuff it's there for him. He's got that part. But the mental component's really important too, and I can't imagine anybody better to do the job that he's done. Yeah.
Tom Kakert, Hawkeye Report. Kirk, I wanted to ask about Jaden Harrell. With him coming back, does he move back into his starting role? And maybe can you speak to the performances of Jaden Montgomery so far?
Yeah, I don't know how we're going to do it yet. We haven't really quite decided. We'll get through the week and figure that out. But it's a little bit like last week talking about Lutmer and Deshaun. I mean, I feel like we have 5 starters in the secondary right now, and we just added to our depth. I think all of us felt confident about Jaden going in there, and now that he's played, we all feel really confident. He's just done a great job. He's not tall, and I don't mean that in a degrading way, but I mean that was probably the reason he didn't get recruited by anybody. Obviously, we had a little inside knowledge with him, but sometimes, and I learned, you've heard me say it before, Mark Sindlinger taught me a lesson about height. Outstanding player for us for 3 years on 3 really good teams, and Bob Sanders, obviously. And so, yeah, ideal, where do you like her? But look like Jack Campbell, 6'4", 245, and run like a deer. But that's few and far between. But Jaden, just everything about him, he's an outstanding student, great leader, great personality, hard worker. And that's who he's been in our program. And he was a really good special teams player. And now he's played a really, really high level. Yeah, he's a communicator in there, being a middle linebacker. So I'm not going to say I'm surprised, but it's great to see his hard work and all the things he's invested show up on the field. And it has, certainly since he's been in there.
Chad Lice, Dakota Des Moines Register. Wanted to ask a multi-part question on tight ends, but first wanted to clarify. I saw Vanami in a sling. Is he out this week?
We'll see. Yeah,
So
he's out of the sling, and he's doing better by the day. Okay. So he's one of the guys I reference. I think he's got a chance. We'll see. Yeah.
Well, that's helpful. I kind of wanted to ask, do you intend for Addison Estrenga? Does Addison Estrenga intend to return next season at this point?
He does, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he does. I wanted to give him a little time to get through the initial part of the injury, but yeah, he's most definitely.
Yeah, so I guess just depth-wise then, seems like you're getting down there at tight ends. I mean, what are you looking at, I guess, in terms of production there? It hasn't been a ton of it thus far without.
They're all doing a good job. It's kind of been by committee, if you will. And, just really happy with the whole group, actually. They're really playing well. Hayden Large is playing just outstanding football. And, 2 years ago, he was a great kid on the team. He was okay as a player. Last year, he played well. And right now he's playing really well. So just happy with him. Certainly Zach's done a really good job. And, DJ was playing. Mike Burt's ready to go. So we'll just keep working the guys and, see how they do. Thomas Meyer may get some snaps this week. So it's a good group. And, they're all doing fine. Yep.
John in the back. Kirk, John Sears, WHO TV. Wanted to ask you about Xavier Wampa. Came in with incredibly high expectations from everyone around the country. He told us that there were times where he wasn't probably playing the way he wanted to play. This season seems to be a little different. He said that he feels like he's having more of an impact. What have you noticed from him in the way he's playing and what he's doing right now for your team?
Yeah, it just I referenced this the other night a little bit. I think it's first of all, not that anybody cares, but I think these outside ratings are just unfair. I guess that's the best word I can use because I'm not sure what criteria people use sometimes to make those determinations. And, there's a lot of things that go into being a good college football player. Just like if you go to the next level, it's the same thing up there. So a lot of subjectivity, all those kinds of things. But the downside, and I'm not trying to kill anybody's business, but the downside of tagging a player is a, can't miss guy. So what if he doesn't come in and play as a freshman? First of all, it might mean you got some other guys that are good players on your team. And second thing it means is probably it's a reality of playing good college football and playing good NFL football is kind of the same way. We were just in there talking about quarterbacks and, Andy Reid being able to sit Mahomes for a year before he threw him in there. Packers have done it with 3 straight quarterbacks. It's really tough to do in today's world. I'm off on a tangent here. Because usually you got to draft a quarterback. If your team's not good, you're usually not good because you don't have a quarterback. So you put the quarterback in there, and then he gets beat up. And The thing that brought it up, I'm totally on a tangent, brought it up, Mac Jones, I heard yesterday, is 4-1, I think, as a starter. If you went back and looked at all the first rounders on different teams now and look at their records, it's pretty obvious. Like, guys have to learn how to play. And so Xavier went through that like most guys do. There's give and take and all that thing, but he's got a great attitude, works hard. And you hope when you're a senior, a junior, senior, you're playing your best football. And I think that's what we've seen with him, playing last year and then playing this year. He's clearly playing at his highest level in his career. Where you have problems is when a guy is not playing well his senior year. He's not playing up to, his best football in his career. That's when teams kind of falter and fail a little bit, but he's done a great job. And he's just a tremendous young person, too. I wasn't quite sure to think about him initially because he's almost kind of a quiet guy in some ways, not introverted, but he's quiet. And but he's a delightful person, very humble and very hardworking. So he's done a great job. We're really thrilled he's on our team.
Hey, Kirk, Elliot Clough, HawkeyeInsider.com. I wanted to ask, you've taken the opening kick every single game so far this season. I'm curious as to the thought process, if there's like analytics that you lean to, or you just want to give the ball to Mark and let him go, or what your thought process is behind that.
Yeah, I mean, we actually, it goes back 20 plus years. Even when we couldn't win very many games, like we took the ball. I think if you look it up and those game notes, there's always that stuff in there. The percentage is better when we take it. So that's not the analytics that everybody else is thinking about. But last year I got swayed a little bit a year ago during August, I guess it would have been. We were having a discussion, and a couple guys in the room made a very compelling argument to defer. Why it's smart, And I can't remember what game it was. But I got upset after whatever, and I just said, that's the last time we're going to do that. So we didn't play well, probably lost a game. I can't remember who it was, doesn't matter. So anyway, we're back to being hard-headed. Let's take the ball and go. We'll see what happens. And believe it or not, there are a couple arguments you can make for taking the ball too, and then maybe having the choice in the second half, getting the win in the fourth quarter. It's one advantage, but you can't obviously, it's pretty hard to score the first possession of the half in the second half unless you get a pick six or, scoop up a fumble or something like that. So that's one thing you can't do. But I mean, you can make a million arguments, but it's just something we've kind of settled into. So, wish I could give you a better answer. Sorry.
Madison Ertzik, the Gazette. I wanted to follow up with the offensive line. With Minnesota recording, it was a program record 9 sacks last week. How much does having the amount of confidence you have in your offensive line help, knowing that that's a defensive line that's coming in with a rather large chip on their shoulder? Yeah,
these guys are very aggressive, and they've done a really nice job rushing the passer. It's multiple guys, too. It's not just one guy. So that's a concern, but I think probably the bigger thing, it just fits into hopefully you're managing the long yardage situations. And, once you get into a certain situation with these guys, yardage-wise, they throw a lot of stuff at you, a lot of creative stuff, and it's a challenge. Plus, it's just a challenge even if they were straight rushing. But, because the probabilities always go down. So a big part of our success, I think, this Saturday is going to have to be being productive first, second down, so we're not looking at a lot of 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s, because, they've proven they can be very, very effective when that comes to about. So, we're going to have to do a good job there. And, if we get in those situations, we're going to have to really be tight and get the ball out, too. You got to get the ball pretty quick. You can't just stand there and look around all day because you don't have all day.
Ethan Beecher, Quad City Times again. I wanted to ask about the 105 roster limit. I know that kind of got modified a little bit this year, and I know you've discussed how you were maybe displeased with the implementation a little bit. I wanted to ask how it's impacted your roster. You guys have had a couple injuries, a couple different positions. Have you felt that in practice that you don't maybe have a roster as big as you used to have, and what have the effects been on just like the team?
Yeah, I'm smiling because I'm thinking about we do a little work after practice typically with younger guys, and a couple of guys on defense were wearing black jerseys, even though they're supposed to be in white, and the defense is in white, and we're for home games. So it makes it a challenge for the quarterback when he throws the ball, and the black jerseys out there playing defense, who's who, who's eligible, all that stuff. So it's created some problems we didn't foresee necessarily. But it also is a reflection. I think our team has been really good about, we are going to have to, if we're short in an area, and you always end up short in an area or two, then guys are going to have to help chip in. Maybe that, yeah, you played high school running back, and we've been doing that for years. Played high school running back, so we need you to be the running back on the scout team this week, or the receiver, that type of deal. And we're just doing more of it now than we have in the past because our numbers are a little bit thinner, and it does seem like injuries happen in certain areas, and that's for a while there. I think we had 3 or 4 offensive linemen that were out for like weeks. So all of a sudden you're getting stretched thin, and it makes it a challenge to practice. It's, in my opinion, it's kind of the equivalent of in the NFL. They've changed it a little bit now. They've expanded their practice squads. But when I was in the NFL, I think it was 6 guys, which is just stupid because, you got guys that are, you want to protect your guys that you're paying the big money to. And it was illogical other than, they're saving a few bucks. And I think that's probably why we made this decision. How we came up with 105, it's a long story. But anyway, yeah, it's changed things a little bit.
Scott
I'm sorry,
Dockerman
Don,
again
yeah.
with the Athletic. I wanted to ask about your counterpart, PJ, and you may have slightly different personalities, I would say, but he has expressed a lot of respect for you over the years. In fact, he still has a rejection letter from you as a grad assistant up on his office wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
I turned Scott Pioli down too,
Yeah.
and Jim Haslett.
Okay.
And I told Jim, I remember having the conversation with Jim. I said, "You don't understand. I'm sitting in my office, Jim, because I'm a head coach at Maine, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking out my window. It's like a portal on a cruise ship, about like this big. All right. I mean, it was like it's a cinder block. It was like a. Yeah, I said, you don't want to come here. Trust me, you do not want to come here. This is not what you want to be doing. Anyway,
But
I don't think he's mad at me. Scott Pioli's still mad at me, but yeah.
well, PJ's now next to you, the second longest tenured Big Ten coach, and could you, I guess, kind of talk about how his transition has gone at Minnesota, maybe what they've developed into as a program, and the challenges that they've have faced year in and year out, because they seem to carry the same characteristics that they have for the last 8-9 years.
I think that's the answer right there, is the consistency. And, we all have different personalities, different ways of doing things. That's what makes life go round. But I think you touched on what really counts. I don't pretend to be an expert on Western Michigan, but we played them, I think it was his first year. And they were not good when we played them that year, or whatever that was. And then a couple of years later, they're playing in the Cotton Bowl. And now you get a chance to watch it up close, firsthand. First of all, there are no easy jobs anywhere in college football, I don't think. And, we have our challenges. Minnesota's got their challenges. Every job does. But he's done a great job, I think, of working around whatever challenges it is that they may have. And he's done something that really hasn't been done there in quite some time. They're winning consistently. And the biggest thing for me as a coach is, like, you turn the film on and it looks pretty consistent no matter who the coordinators are. They play a certain way offensively, defensively, and on special teams. They're typically a big physical team, and they typically play really hard, and they don't beat themselves. So it's probably why he's been in the job however many years it's been now. That he's been there, it's been quite a while. And that's the other truism. Like, you don't stay in the jobs if you're not doing at least a pretty capable job. And sometimes you better be doing a really capable job, or, the way decisions get made has changed. But, you gotta be good. You gotta be consistent. And they've been that. So, we're playing a team here that, we thought an experienced quarterback, well, that guy's right up the ladder and doing a really good job. So it's going to be another tough contest on Saturday. That's kind of where it's going. It's a tribute to their whole coaching staff. These guys do a great job, and they've had staff continuity too. That's the other thing I'd point out. A lot of guys there with a lot of years, and they know what they're trying to do, and it's coming across really well on the field for them. So, okay, thank you. See you Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you.